Bonjour, aloha, salut. It is moi, Terrence, and I'm back with some more Potato Parle. And again, on today's episode, we have a special guest. Today's special guest is bum 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 bum.
Hello, it's me, Connor.
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. And what's interesting about this episode is I had no clue what we were going to talk about until a few minutes before this. So I am somewhat unprepared about it. So Connor's gonna be leading it, and I'm just gonna jump around and hope I get through. So Connor, start us off.
Okay, so what I wanted to talk about is do you think virtual school is giving us more work than they did when we were actually in school? Or does it just feel like we're doing more work since we're just sitting at our computers doing work all day? In my opinion, it feels around the same amount of work. But since I'm at my computer all day, I kind of just don't want to be there afterwards, so I complain more, and then it just feels like more work since I'm already at my computer, having to do my assignments on my computer instead of being in class. It just feels like more, but I think it's the same amount of work from what I've noticed. How
You
do you
know,
feel about it, Terrence?
I mean, I I agree and disagree, which makes no sense, but I'll explain. I agree in the
Hmm.
sense that because I'm not busy with because I'm not focusing as much on stuff such as like volunteering or having to worry about my social appearance or stuff, even like extracurriculars like marching band or at you and robotics. Because we're not truly
Hmm.
focusing on that stuff, I feel like our own mind can only think about school, and because of that, it seems like a lot. Because another thing with me is my personality is I have Israel at school. That and when I'm using that name, that means I am trying to just get work done. That's
Hmm.
all he is there to do. No play, only work. When I'm home, that's when I'm all play. That's when I'm all fun. Because I've had to merge those roles, it's I never wanted to merge those roles because it taints what I call home and taints what I call school. What made school
Exactly.
great was it's a place where one can truly just focus on learning. Don't need to focus on what I'm going to eat when I get home. Don't need to focus on if I wash my clothes. Nah, I'm only there trying to figure out if the square root of this number is this number. And when I'm at home, I try not to worry too much. I divide that little bit of space for homework and stuff. But once homework is done, all I'm focusing on is what game am I going to play today, and like stuff such as that. That's all my focus. But because it's all together, it's just it almost feels too much. Like for example, today I had to do my laundry for my bed sheets and do my classes. And I'm running back and forth. I have blankets thrown all over my room. It was a mess. And because of how rooms work is if your room's a mess, sometimes you feel like a mess itself. That's how I felt today. And this kind of carried over still cuz I have a good bunch of things to do today. So with those together, it felt like a lot. In reality, it could be a lot because due to how teachers have to grade and do assignments, I think to an extent it is more because I think it's more in the sense that because we're not in class as long as we used to be. Two things are happening. One, either the assignments that we would usually do in class are now assigned outside of class, or two, teachers are giving more work. It's that since since they feel that we're at home and we have more time at home to do things, they're upgrading it more because there's been like small reports between about how like certain IB, for example, have to reach amount of hours. I know to an extent that's kind of true, but I don't know how much. But with that, it kind of creates these big amount of assignments to do. If like if I had to provide an example, it would be I have to. Oh, here's a great one for my bio. I had to do today. I have to do a lab. I have to do like 3 labs. And the
Mhm.
problem with these 3 labs is that they're pretty long. Like one lab, I literally have to press a space bar for every time I see a bubble out of a plant. It's about it's about photosynthesis, but besides the point, it's a pain because I have to sit there and make sure it works. Where instead, I would do this in the classroom and be done with it. But because it's at home, it's just a little bit more. And then, yeah, so that's why I say I agree and disagree. Because,
Okay.
yeah,
So your
yeah,
stance is that like it feels like more work because they're giving more since we're not there, not much time. It also feels like more work because we're not dispersing like how like where we're working at it. Like instead of like
yes,
in school part of the time and then at home part of the time, it's all home.
yeah, yeah. That's my
Hmm,
stance.
good stance.
Hey,
Yeah, I
hey.
agree with that. I agree with that. And plus, you got all this stuff going on in your life and your house, and then people are asking you to do things, and you're like, "I got work to do." It's like, "Too bad, you gotta do this stuff." It's like,
Mm-hmm.
"Okay, I'm gonna have to try and do this thing. I gotta try to do that thing," and it
Mm-hmm.
just becomes all crazy, and then everyone just stresses out over it due to this fact.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it doesn't help that this is our senior year, so that's when like really everything is happening at once.
Yeah.
And what I'm kind of realizing this year is after once I go off to college, I'm gonna be cutting ties with a lot of things. Like I realize that I'll be cutting ties with church for a good bit. Like I'm still a Christian. It's just that I'm kind of done with the building and with like the services. I can't do it anymore. I'm too tired. I because like I've been pretty involved in my church since I was little. Like I have done sermons, I have acolyted, I have lay read. I'm part of the choir, but I'm thinking of quitting that just because I'm too tired and I'm not comfortable doing something entirely new again. I
Hmm.
kind of just want to finish out what I've been doing and then be done. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, as someone else who goes to church, are you going to go to church when you go off to college?
I haven't gone to church in a while though, but I would like to get back into it. I'd honestly like
Oh,
to go back to church, like
yeah.
sometimes, not like every single Sunday, but like go every once in a while to start off, and then kind of make a habit of it.
Oh, really?
I
Really?
think it would be nice to do that, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. And what?
'Cause
And what? And you're a Christian, correct?
yeah, I'm Christian.
What denomination, if I may ask?
I am Catholic, the
Oh,
one that everyone makes fun of.
Roman Catholic.
uh, I'm not sure if it's Roman Catholic, but I just know it's Catholic.
Hmm. Do you have
I go
mass?
to the church in town by the park. That's the one I go
Oh,
to.
oh. What's the service like? What is the service there like? Because I'm Episcopalian Christian, and our service is similar to Catholic in essence, but at the end of the day, it's very more lackadaisical. I will admit.
Yeah. Basically, it's kind of the same. It's a mass. They have hymns, like about like you want to say I haven't been there in a while, but like halfway through, you eat the body and blood
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
Christ, and then you sing like it's kind of like in my opinion, it's kind of dreary and like drab in a sense because everyone's like kind of like it's not like peppy and everything.
Of course,
It's kind of
yeah.
like slow, like most churches are. It's like it's really
Mm-hmm.
slow. Think that's one of the reasons why it's no, it's not really. I don't know why I stopped going. Yeah.
Hmm. I mean,
But like, uh, you do, like midway through after you get the body and blood, you just like greet everyone. You say, "Peace be with
be with
you"
you.
and everything.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, to be honest, it's weird being a Christian for me personally because it's just a weird thing to be because like on the news to an extent you kind of or on the news or you hear of like Christians doing all these kind of not good things for the
Yeah.
sake of God or Christ as it say and you're just like but no and like that's
Ooh,
such
wait.
a
There was one recently. There was this one in Nashville.
really.
I think it was Nashville. It was
Hmm.
like there was a bunch of parishioners. Uh, it was. I think it was either Nashville or something. It was something recent.
Mm,
Ah, gosh, I can't remember. But it was
yeah.
like a bunch of people, like they were pointing it out because nobody was wearing masks, and like a few
Oh.
people were wearing masks, and there was like 9,000 people there.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. I mean, that's an example of like where Christians are like, yes. I mean, as a Christian, our belief is that God is all powerful. Yes, that is correct.
Yeah,
But to an extent, does that mean I feel some people views God's power in the wrong light. For example, the corona. You've seen many parishioners brag about how God will protect us from corona. But any theologian could then argue he protects us by providing us with the methods to protect ourselves. Because
exactly.
I don't know if that was a story. It's not a parable, I would say, but it's a story I've heard, where it's a story of how this guy is told that a hurricane is coming, like a big flood is coming, and he's told through all these media outlets, and all he says is that God will protect me. And then when it happens and he dies, he asks God why he wasn't protected. And
Oh, I've
this,
heard of this.
yes, and the story, and the God then says, "I did. I sent you this. I sent you this, and I sent you this." To where God protects us, but we think of him as this magical being, but that's how I don't think that's how we should view him. I think we should view him as this all powerful who provides for us with ourselves. Because I mean, as a Christian, that kind of is our thing. Think about it. When we think of Jesus Christ, we think of him as the Son of God, God sending this person to us. Oh, by the way, for
Mhm.
the entire podcast, sorry if this got into a little bit Christian. This is I just want a conversation. This is something that we're both kind of topical about that we can do, but
Mhm.
it's just kind of like that idea where with if we have stuff like this knowledge, then what people are doing aren't for that sake. They're doing it for more selfish reasons. And I feel like kind of ironically tying back to if you haven't seen Lance's video called Helping Others, where
Mhm.
they're kind of only helping themselves, where they only consider themselves. Instead of trying to protect each other and following what is known to be working to a small extent, they're not caring for each other. And I feel like that's kind of a big problem, and kind of can tie back to the school topic is where it's hard. It's I'm seeing a lot of good teachers this year because of one simple fact is they're asking and they're trying to make sure they're not killing us. What I
Mhm.
mean metaphorically, such
Especially
as
the new teachers. The new teachers are like they don't know what to do right now,
mm-hmm,
so they're like asking the students for how they're feeling. And like
mm-hmm.
one of my teachers, my Spanish teacher, Miss Lutz,
Oh
she was
yeah,
actually asking us. She was like, I don't know how like I've never really taught an IB class, so she doesn't know how like it was supposed to work out. And then she was like, okay, since you guys are getting all this work, I'm gonna try and make it easier on you guys, but not giving you
mm-hmm.
too much, but like still like enough work for my class.
That I mean I didn't even consider like so. What's it like having a person who's new? Like this is their first year teaching. What's that
Um,
like?
it's nice honestly, cause well, since I'm the only person in Spanish 6,
Mm-hmm.
she basically said I could make my own curriculum.
Oh.
So she's gonna like she asked me what I wanted to work on, and then
Mm-hmm.
she's gonna base my curriculum around that,
Ah,
which is really nice. I
that's
really like
nice.
that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Do you
Yeah.
want to move back to what we're gonna like sacrifice for like what we're gonna like cut ties with when we're
Oh
going
yeah,
back to
sure. Why
when we go
not?
back to Belgium?
What are you gonna cut ties with, or maybe
Um,
gain?
I'm not gonna completely cut ties, but like I'm not gonna like be seeing my family all the time, which
Mm.
honestly will bum me out. But like some of my stress does come from family. Like I think it'd be
Yeah,
nice to stay away
yeah,
for a bit.
yeah. I kind of relish in the idea that I'll be away from my family. Doesn't mean I dislike them. No, 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 no. I'm not like some people who
The
want
feeling
to
of
get away from them.
independence, like
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of like on my. It's like here's the smallest thing. Most times my mother cooks dinner for us. It's usually she's the one telling us. And yes, we're asked to think of ideas, but most times we just leave it to her. But it's going to be interesting on our own time to be deciding, hey, I want to eat this today. We're like I
exactly.
example, I want to try to eat healthier, so that I'll have to kind of schedule out my meals is what I'm going to try to do, which is it's going to be interesting to see if it works or not, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think like the best thing I can do is just try to schedule things as much as I can. Be organized because I, like for example, I'm not. there's a lot of things I'm not doing in college. Like I'm not gonna do marching band. So I will probably have a lot more time than I usually do in like last year's school year, where I'll have a lot of open time where it's not me doing work and not class, where I'll just be doing nothing. And
Mhm.
I, I'm a little bit scared of what of how I'm gonna handle it. I'm gonna try my best to try to include exercise and relaxation, but it's a lot to think about that you have that much freedom.
One of the things I'm gonna miss a lot
Mhm.
is, like, seeing the friends who I've met throughout the years and, like, kinda see them parting ways, but, like, I'm hopefully gonna keep in contact with all of them. I think
Oh
that'd
yeah,
be nice, but, like, I'm not gonna see them all the time since they're going to different colleges. But
yeah.
when we get into VT, Terrence,
Right, you're
I'm still gonna
crazy.
have you, buddy, and we're gonna have Charles, we're gonna have
You have a lot of
wait, who else is
people.
going there? A few other people who's going there?
It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be
Quite a
really.
bit, actually. Like, a
I
lot
mean,
more than I expected.
yeah. I mean, like that's the crazy part. Is like I'm gonna be honest. I haven't been doing really well because I think I've accidentally done my thing where I put all my eggs in one basket and I do everything at once. So like I have
Ah,
only been working on VT's application. I haven't looked at any others in a while.
same here. I'd, like, actually just added, like, 2 colleges on there because I was focusing on, like, VT so
yeah,
much, and I only
yeah,
had, like, one other than VT, which is George
yeah.
Mason.
Yeah. That's actually why I was. That's why I was late to this session is because I was working on those answers with my dad because I had everyone review them, and the last person I wanted to have was my father because it's always weird where like I feel that most people when they review my work, I'm always scared for them because I feel some people feel intimidated by my work, and it makes no sense. I am no intimidating matter, but like the people like I consider those like my really good friends are the ones who can truly see me for my flaws. Like you, whenever you review my work, I'll always say, "Gosh, I got some good actual criticism." And like, there's many
It's
other people.
terrible. Get rid of this entire
I
paragraph,
need
Terrence.
that because I I am not the king of English at all. Only thing I'm good at is thinking of ideas, and most times the ideas are too crazy. So when I get people who can handle that, it's beautiful. So by
Mhm.
having kind of a support group like that who can truly criticize me perfectly is amazing. And that support group idea mentality is going to be interesting when we go up to college because in a way, yes, we'll have all our old connections and we'll be trying to keep those going. But on top of that, we'll be making new ones. And it's like, how are we going to do it? Like, how are we going to go about that? Like, are we like you can go about that through classes where you'd be like, hey, this is my study buddy. Now we're friends. Or is it going to be I'm in this club, so I hang out with these guys, and this guy let me meet this person and stuff like that,
Yeah,
which is
it's
gonna
gonna be
be
kind of weird because the last time we truly had to do this, like, actually try hard to get friends, was back in elementary school or even
really,
preschool.
really,
Like,
yeah,
after that, it was, like, meeting them through our other friends or, like, they're the new student and we just, like, buddy up with them. But
yeah.
it's like, you're gonna actually have to you're in, like, this school of, like, total strangers except for, like, maybe some people you know who go there
And then
already or, like, some people who are going there with you.
on top of that, you may never run into these people. Like they keep going on our VT spirit. That's a big school. It is known for having a lot of people, so there's rarely any time we'll just run into each other to an extent. We can make these interactions occur, but it doesn't mean they'll always occur on purpose. So it's stuff such as that happening, which is going to be interesting.
You know what I liked about VT? They sent me an email and it was like, "Oh, how did you like our school? It looks like Hogwarts." And I'm like, "It
Yeah.
kinda does."
I really enjoyed that. That I think that really won me over that little email. But yeah, yeah. You know what's been really interesting? So I'm taking stats, and the teacher for stats has a
Mhm.
doctorate, right? And so this is pretty crazy. I'm learning under someone who has a PhD in a subject, and what makes it the most interesting is that she's very caring and like a great teacher. I'm not saying PhDs are like mean people. No, no, no. I'm saying that it's just something I've never experienced before. Where she's this very caring teacher, and then on top of that, for getting a PhD, she's technically a genius in her field. And it's
Really?
yeah, like like today, she talks about her life a lot. She's one of those teachers which are pretty nice, where they talk about
I
their own
like those teachers
experiences.
so much.
And like she talked about how she used to work at VCU, and she talked about VCU and talked about how people view candidates and stuff, and how, like, for example, she brought up the argument about ACT scores. She said it was a good. She recommend for some people to do it because it helps. It kind of creates like, hey, this is who I am. Here's who I am statistically, and here I am personally. It creates your two sides,
Mhm.
which it's kind of been like a big question: is are SAT scores good or bad? Which it's kind of been that big debate, this it's kind of been going now because a lot of places are going test optional, which makes sense due to not everyone having access to SAT. But I
Mhm.
know that some people are. I know that most schools will probably go back to SAT required after SAT or ACT required. But I would like to ask, what do you think on the matter? Do you think the SAT and ACT scores are good requirements to have?
Man, that's kinda tough. Well, SAT, I think it's Ace SAT and ACT, I think it's good, they get a mark of your knowledge, but,
Mm-hmm.
like, sometimes it's, like, stuff that you haven't worked on in a while, so you kinda lose that knowledge. It's stuff that you haven't practiced. So
Mm-hmm.
then you, like, start doing SAT practice to get it, and it's, like, hard to getting back into it. I don't think it really measures who you are as a person, and if they judge you solely off your SA well, like, mainly off your SAT, despite how you've grown and how you've, like who you are now and, like, how you differ from the SAT to who you are as a person, I think
Mm-hmm.
that'd be it's better to do it that way, which is
Mm-hmm.
what they're gonna do this year. Most schools just, as you said, just disregarding it. Like, VT, I know they're one of those schools that's just
Yeah,
ignoring it.
yeah. I my father is a big opponent against against the idea of those scores, so I
Mhm.
kind of biased by that to a small thing. But I view them that they should not be as viewed as high as they should be.
Yeah.
What I think is important is more of the transcripts that people send in school. I feel like a lot of people. I don't know too much about the college admission themselves, but I always felt that they looked a lot. I always felt they looked little upon your actual transcript of like what you did in school. Because I feel like what really should matter is your transcript to see your grades and stuff, teacher recommendations, and your personal essays and questions. I feel like
Mhm.
those three proponents are important because I feel that it doesn't matter if you know every little thing about every little thing. I feel
Yeah.
those should not matter because to a small extent, not everyone will need all that knowledge that is on the SAT. I
Exactly.
like what I felt the problem with the SAT was I saw it in one ad where there was this ad that showed that showed about this guy talking about here's the perfect strategy for studying for the SAT because the only way to get a good score in the SAT is studying for the SAT, which made me go, wait a minute. If the SAT is how they're determining my value for a college, then it should not be the knowledge I gain just for the SAT because that's just a test. Anyone can do that. You could technically
Yeah.
be an idiot, but if you memorize every bit of knowledge and then use that knowledge, you could still be an idiot that just knew how to do it right. And that's
Exactly.
my problem with it. So I'm saying, like, it's fine to keep it, but I would not give it so much value. I would give
Mhm.
values, for example, the high school transcript, for example, because that showcases your work through school. It shows your evolution. Because let's say you're a kid who failed freshman year, like you were doing bad, and then slowly you get better and better. Well, it shows you have a drive. That teacher recommendation saying from that teacher who's watched this progress, going, yeah, this kid, he used to be bad, but look, but he's worked through it all. He's figuring things out and he goes for it. Stuff like that should be important because if you have the drive to improve, even when you hit rock bottom, then stuff like that should be more important than your SAT score. And I feel like the SAT score is just a small way to weed out some things, but it shouldn't be. What should really weed out people at first is like, for example, GPA. I think no, not GPA. That's a terrible one. I know that they use SAT to help in the admission process, but I
Maybe, like, their essay
the
or, like,
essay
some
show
of
up a
the
lot. I know they
And,
really
like,
just
the
want.
thing is, like, understanding of them, like, that could be, like, determinant. Like, they have,
Hmm.
like, a group of things that determines if they should go on with it. So,
Yeah.
like, their activities, how they answered the essay,
Hmm.
and some other thing. And they determine whether they want to go on to look at the rest of their application
Hmm.
from that. Actually, gosh, that's really tough.
Yeah. I mean,
About
yeah. I mean, I know their process is hard because the reason why the SAT is about is because it provides an exact numerical stance that they can use. Because, I mean, the process I will not admit is an easy thing to decide out of all these candidates. Who am I really gonna let in? Because you only can let
mhm.
in so many people. Like, there's some people that you can automatically click out. Like, when you look at GPA, if someone's like a 1.0, then you know that they're nothing. But when you get to the higher ranges of GPAs, for that example,
If you get by
then you
like
have to really decipher.
3.5, maybe
Yeah,
probably like
yeah,
3.5.
yeah. That's another thing that was bothering me a lot is the how our GPA goes up to a 5, correct?
Yeah,
And like I guess the national one that they use is up to like a 4 or something. It was really weird. And I remember I had to like figure out how that made sense and stuff like that. And yeah, like is I understand there's because of how many different methods there are. There's going to be so many different ways, so they try to consolidate with national things like the SAT. But I don't think it's the way. And I'm not saying there's an easy solution like we could figure it out right now. I don't think we could do that. But I do believe it is possible to find a better way of doing it.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, anything else? Because if not, I'm feeling good. We'll stopping here. You want to discuss anything else real quick?
I want to go with one last thing.
Okay.
How are you feeling about going to college? Like honestly, like
Honestly, I'm really pumped up. I kind of can't wait to change my routine because I after so many years of being in school of having every day where I'm given like here's a great example in English. We're about to write another big essay. And
oh yeah,
at
four
first
to
you're
five
like I'm
pages.
freaking out a little bit, right? Like everyone freaks out a little bit. But
Oh yeah,
in reality, we've done this before, but with just different things. Like we always go, "Oh, this is terrifying," and then a few weeks later, we written an entire essay. And
yeah,
it's kind of boring now to go through that process again and again. So honestly, I'm tired of just what we do every day being the same. It doesn't mean that not going to enter a new routine. It's just that it's going to be awesome to enter a new routine. So I'm pretty pumped up for college. I kind of can't wait for the change of everything. I mean, it's a little bit scary, but that it's kind of exhilarating scary, you know?
yeah.
And how do you feel
Like
about it?
I feel honestly, I feel nervous and excited at the same time. Like nervous to like
Hmm.
be stepping out into this world, excited to be like being free, going away from home, like actually like kind of becoming my own person in a way.
Yeah.
Also excited to change my routine, like you said, and like there's gonna be a lot more opportunities for us in like college. Like there's a bunch of clubs. And so one of the clubs that I found out about from VT, which I really thought was funny, was there's a chocolate milk club. And I was like looking up, I was like, you know what, that's a really cool club. Might have to join it. Honestly,
Yeah.
the more opportunities, like just like a lot more stuff to do, and like depends on where you go, you can do so much in that area. And
Yeah.
just overall nervous and excited, but probably more excited than I am nervous, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah, that's great. It's great. Well, I'm gonna stop us here. Thank you, Connor, for this amazing discussion.
Thank you for having me, Terrence.
Hey, you'd like to shout out anything or anyone or any creature or anything such as that?
Um, honestly, I just like to shout out Lance568.
Yeah.
You aren't subscribed? The button's red. Why haven't you pressed it? You see Terrence's channel? Scroll down, scroll down. You see that red button that says subscribe? Press that.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it's
Press that.
grayed out, then you're perfect. You're already subscribed. You're an epic gamer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
And
if
if
you,
you're when you press it, you'll become an epic gamer.
ooh,
Press that
ooh,
red button.
ooh, and if you want to be even more of an epic gamer, Lance put out a video supporting me. If you're here from that video, amazing. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out his Meaningful Mondays because I brought it up in the podcast today. So I'll put them in the descriptions again for this one as well. But yeah, go check them out again. And you know what? Go
Feel
check
free
out.
to share this video. Share it to
Yeah,
your friends, share it to your family.
yeah. And
You
you
might
know
learn
what?
something new today.
Yeah, and put more questions in the comments. If you want something to discuss, put it in there. If you want, if I don't know, tell me if I'm doing anything bad. Tell me if I'm doing anything good. Just have a discussion. 'Cause that's all I care about. I'm not doing this for profit. I'm doing this because I'm bored and I like talking to people. So do what you want in there. If and I may even say hi. Probably not. I'm not a very talkative person through internet, but you get the point. Yeah.
Wait, what video do you have going over this?
Oh, it's Minecraft stuff right now.
Oh, there goes Terrence. He's mining. He's building something.
Ha!
Oh, look at that.
I'm probably actually I may be mining. I don't know, but thank you, Connor. Have a lovely day, everyone. Au revoir. How do you say goodbye in
Goodbye.
Spanish?
Adios. Sayonara.
Adios.
Hasta la
Aloha.
vista.
Um. Au revoir. A bientôt. Italian for goodbye. Bye.